Hey collective, it's Satya back with another message, another video. Y'all already know what's up. Hope you guys have been doing well. I hope that the solar eclipse and new moon in Aries was treating you well. I hope you guys were taking my advice also and resting, rejuvenating, recharging yourself, and really, honoring your needs. I took naps, I slept in, I went to bed semi-early. I'm really a night owl, so I did what I could, and I feel really, really good. Y'all, look at this. I don't have any more sage. I burnt him out on the last video I did, so I gotta get some new sage. Or if I am trying to honor my journey in Mercury Retrograde in Taurus, I'm just gonna use what I have and stop spending money. And as we speak about Mercury Retrograde in Taurus, that is actually the topic of today's message and video. So what I wanted to do was talk a little bit about Mercury Retrograde itself, Mercury Retrograde in Taurus, what that means, and then dive a little bit deeper into Taurus as the sign, because not only is it Mercury Retrograde right now in Taurus, but it is Taurus season. And I would also like to talk a little bit about the Fool and the journey of the Fool. So this is probably going to be a part 1, part 2, part 3, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Come back to watch all of the parts as they really do align and connect to one another and build a complete and really holistic picture about not only Mercury Retrograde in Taurus, but our start of a journey, our progress through this journey of personal self-development, spiritual development, and really reaching our North Node, right? Moving along in a pathway that's going to take us towards the future, towards our North Node, our North Star, our life's purpose. This is our sacred journey. And, it really started, it's been starting, right, since we were born, but if we want to connect that to the zodiac and the signs that kick off from Aries into Taurus, right? This is the second house. Taurus is the second house. And so this is really kicking off our personal journey. So no more chit chat. Let's go ahead and get started. So when we talk about Mercury retrograde, right, what we're talking about is what we see from the Earth's perspective as the trajectory, right? The orbit of Mercury. Though it is not going backwards from our point of view, it does look like it's going backwards. And so Mercury retrograde calls us to consider, what do we need to redo, right? Mercury retrograde is an opportunity to review things, to take a second look at things, it gives us an opportunity to look at what we may have missed the first time around, right? Not everybody, some people are really good about seeing something, gathering all the details they need, and really executing plans in a super duper effective way. Others, like me, and like some of you out there in the collective, would definitely benefit from having another swing at things, right? Having a chance to just, redo some things, give me a second chance, give me an opportunity to take a look at what I've mastered and what I need to work a little bit more on. And that is the energy of retrograde, right? So Mercury retrograde allows us to go back and think about, analyze, consider, work inside of our mind what needs to be redone, And because Mercury retrograde, of course, is happening in Taurus, a lot of that review, a lot of that reanalyzation is going to be in the area of our resources, our money, our career, our health, our finances, right? Those capital resources, those things that are tangible in the 3D. So again, money, wealth, health, our career, our relationships, right? A big part of living in the world is that we are connected to, whether we like it or not, to other people. And when we talk about resources, we're talking about all of the things that we have in the 3D world, the material world that we use, right? That we can indulge in. And the balance there is, are we overindulging? Are we giving into excess? Are we balancing that or not? And because Mercury retrograde is dealing with Mercury, of course, that is aligned with messages, thinking, our mind. Mercury is an air sign, and air signs are typically really in their head, right? Mercury is the mental switchboard. Mercury is how we think, how we communicate. It is wit. It is very cerebral. It is intellect. It is knowledge. Mercury is represented by air, and air in the tarot is the suit of swords. And so when we talk about Mercury, it ends up being very message, mentally agile, communication, wit, intellect. But Mercury, as Hermes in mythology, was also a messenger of the gods. He had the ability to travel up towards the heavens here on the earthly, worldly plane, and he also had the ability to dive down into the underworld. And so Mercury, Hermes, is really representative of the ability to not only think and engage in mental acrobatics on the earthly plane, right, the conscious plane, but also on the heavenly plane, the superconscious, the divine plane, and the underworld plane, the subconscious. So when we think about Mercury retrograde, we think about, again, that ability to go back and think about all of what we need to redo, all of what we need to look at, not only here on the 3D, but also in the divine sense, in our superconscious, and also in the underworld, our subconscious. And so this is an energy of digging deep, really thinking, really engaging, as I said, in that mental acrobat sense. Not thinking superficially, not only thinking, connecting with the higher source, God, your divine angels, but also internally, subconsciously, digging deep within yourself. And with Taurus being an earth sign, this is really, very, very much about what we are creating, right? Material knowledge, material, tangible, practical knowledge, our resources, terra firma, right? Gaia, If you see here, Earth is matter, matter, mother. This is all about that nurturing resource energy. When we are born, our mother is our primary source of everything. Not only did we grow inside of the mother's body for 9 months until we were fully baked and ready to come out, but she fed us, she nurtured us, she cared for us, right? So this is very much an energy of like that primal need, our stability, our security, food, shelter, safety. And so as we talk about Mercury in retrograde in Taurus, that energy of Mercury needing to really think, receive divine messages, communicate, reanalyze things on a super conscious, conscious, and subconscious level, the topic of what we would be talking about is those earthly matters, which again, as being representative of the second house, usually has to deal with our resources, what we own, what we have, our material goods, what we're investing our time, energy, and money into, what we value. Not only that, but what we possess, what do we have? Not only what we want to possess and what we're actively working towards possessing, but what we currently possess. Thinking about what we currently have. Is it enough? Is it too much? Is what we have or what we're aiming to have moving us closer to our north node? Or is it distracting us from our north node? It also is about our relationship to our resources. What is our view of money? What is our view of career? Are we so focused on money, career, having these material goods that we are working ourselves to death? Is our relationship to resources, the practical world, the material world, those things that we sometimes, feel like we have to have, is it not strong enough? Do we not value our health enough? Do we not value money enough? Are we not pushing ourselves to be the best that we can be, right? It's about balance. This is about balance. And that's what these past readings really have been asking us, right? To seek balance. When we talked about Isis, we talked about Artemis, we talked about Gaia, we talked about Libra. That was all about balance. And I believe that it was really setting us up for this transition into Taurus, learning the lesson of balance so that when we transition into Taurus, we take the lessons we've learned about balance and are able to apply it to the second house, our resources, our relationship to resources, and learning that how we think, how we use our mind, right? Mercury also has to be balanced. How we think about things, the pros and the cons, right? The actions we take and the consequences. And so if we think about Mercury retrograde, Taurus, Mercury itself, the element of Earth, and the second house, we put all of that together. What we can see is, what we can summarize Mercury retrograde in Taurus being is having an opportunity to analyze our relationship with our worldly and tangible resources, our actual finances, a chance to rethink our habits with regard to money, career, health, and material capital. A review of how practical or impractical we are. There's that balance, practical versus impractical. How we manage our resources to either create stability and security in our life or to create instability and insecurity in our lives. And how we are investing our resources, all types of resources, money, time, energy, resources, blood, sweat, tears, right? How we are investing all types of our resources to nurture what we own and use common sense to see growth in our investments and to manifest abundance in the 3D. So as we go through Mercury retrograde, that is the idea that we should be focusing on. Reanalyzing, rethinking our relationship with worldly tangible goods and resources and our actual finances, rethinking our habits regarding those resources, regarding our relationship to those tangible, practical, worldly things, reviewing if we are actually creating stability and security in our lives, or if we're creating instability and insecurity in our lives, and really thinking about and coming to, a true and balanced understanding of how we're investing our resources and what we own, and using common sense to lay that foundation of growth. So as we move towards our North Node, we are manifesting abundance. So I'd like to talk a little bit about how the cards of the tarot relate to Taurus, Mercury, and in essence, how it relates back to Mercury retrograde. Because again, this is really all connected. And as we do readings throughout Taurus season, I predict that it will likely relate back to these cards, these meanings, these themes in a very, very impactful way. So we'll start with the Earth cards. So we spoke about Earth itself as a feminine energy, as stability, as a 3D worldly type of energy. And that Earth element is related to and directly connected to the Hierophant. The Hierophant is, as you can see here, kind of over on the side right here, is directly connected to Earth and Taurus. The Hierophant energy is one of society, the world, formal traditions, religion, the rules of society, the bound relationship that we have with earthly materials, right? The Hierophant you see here, he is representative of the Pope. So religious traditions, that connection that we have not only to spirit and God and our higher source, but then to the rules, the regulations then that also come with those traditions, that come with religion, that come with the power of what following a tradition means. The Hierophant calls us to embrace the benefits of tradition. It calls us to know and do, be ready to learn. Sometimes the Hierophant calls us to unlearn traditions, routines, expectations that are also not helpful. And there's that sense of balance again, right? Sometimes what we've been taught has helped us get to where we need to be. But the next step in our journey, we might have to unlearn some of those habits, unlearn some of those principles, refuse some of those traditions. And so it might be a point of having to review those things during Mercury retrograde, reconsidering what we've been taught, analyzing over and over and over again, right? Reviewing if our habits, if our traditions, if our patterns are helping us to move forward or hindering us from moving forward. And as we're talking about analyzing, considering, reviewing, that brings us into the air sign, right? Mercury is the messenger of Gemini, an air sign. It is representative of the swords in the tarot. And Mercury is representative in the tarot of the magician. So the magician, again, is representative for air, for Mercury, communication, right? Swords. The magician is about action, creation. It's about power, self-confidence. The magician has all of the tools he needs to manifest exactly what he wants. He is a master of cups. He's a master of wands. He's a master of swords. He's a master of pentacles. He knows, he has the knowledge it takes to start a project, manage that project, and bring that project to full completion. He has the spirit energy, the life force that it is required to bring something not only from creation, but to completion. And so you'll see here that, well, I'll kind of hold it up here. It's hard to get them all three in there. But the magician has, again, the cup, the pentacle, the wand, and the sword on his table. He has all of the things in the material world that he needs to create whatever it is he desires. You'll also see that above the magician's head is the infinity symbol, which represents all knowledge, all wisdom, that higher level thinking to make possibilities into reality. You'll also see that he has like a magic wand, not just the wand from the tarot, the fire wand, but he has a magic wand in his hand that's pointed up to the heavens, and his other hand is pointed down to the earth. This is symbolic of what that part in the Lord's Prayer, right, of as above, so below, making your will on heaven as it is on earth. Because the magician has that ability, being represented by Mercury and by air. He is a conduit of spirit, of divine messages. Mercury, the magician, can communicate with our superconscious, with the divine, to bring that message down to earth and manifest that in the 3D plane, but also has the ability to go into our subconscious, the underworld below, to dig deep and bring out what is hidden, to combine superconscious with subconscious on the conscious plane, and with the knowledge that is represented by the infinity symbol, and the physical tangible resources on his table represented by the pentacles, the cup, the sword, and the wand. He has the ability to manifest and create all things. Divine creation power. And so this for me is very, very meaningful, because not only right? Is this talking about traditions, knowledge, wisdom, expectation, but being able to transform the lesson of the Hierophant, right? Being able to transform that through the embodiment of the magician into whatever it is that we desire. And so for me, that's very, very, very powerful, because you're not bound and held by traditions, by what other people think and say about what you should do, but you are able, as we move into the Pentacles, Ace of Pentacles and the Ace of Swords, you're able to take that raw energy from the Ace of Pentacles, those raw resources, that energy of abundance, money, career, health, wealth, wisdom, and you're able to create opportunities in career, in your finances, in any new venture, to create that stability and that security in your life. The Ace of Pentacles is an energy of big time manifestation, investing your resources into the right places, because we are the magician, and seeing a return on that investment, as long as we're patient and as long as we do it in a logical, practical way. So the Ace of Pentacles is very much an earth energy, very much representative of Taurus. It's a stable, abundant, practical energy. Your efforts will be rewarded if you invest your time into the correct, prosperous beginning, and you nurture and cultivate it. The Ace of Pentacles, when drawn, is it's foreshadowing a new prosperous beginning, whether that is in finances, career, also health, right? Also in our relationship to those resources, as we spoke about before. So the Ace of Pentacles is very representative of that Hierophant, right? 3D material expectations, how we manifest things in the real world according to traditions, habits, patterns that we know are secure and stable in the 3D world. Moving towards the Ace of Swords, which is an air energy, right? Swords is the representation of air. Air being, again, the magician and Mercury, thinking, communication, wit, mental clarity, how we process things, logic, right? Logic over heart, mental intelligence over feelings and emotions. So the Ace of Swords, being a representative of air, is about how we think, how we move in a sense that we think about and we move logically. It is spirit energy. It is life force. It is how we communicate. The Ace of Swords talks about having a big truth revealed to us, new ideas, new plans, some sort of mental breakthrough, a new way of thinking about things. And if we're connecting this back again to Mercury Retrograde, Mercury Retrograde is asking us to reconsider how we think about things, reconsider, right? Get a new perspective, find a new level of clarity. What is our relationship to Taurus-based resources? What is our relationship to money? Let's reanalyze how we're using our resources. We might not have been doing things the right way. We might need to gain a new perspective. We might during this Mercury retrograde time, be inspired to try something new, to think about something a new way, to forge a new path, to pioneer a new way of thinking for ourselves that is going to lead us forward in a better, more stable way. So as we talk about Mercury retrograde, remember that it's not just about Taurus. There's a heavy Mercury influence here that asks us to think about things a new way, reconsider how we're thinking, reanalyze our thoughts, our habits, our patterns in relationship to Taurus-based energy. So I encourage you all to use this message to understand more about the job, the task, right? The journey that is ahead of us during this Mercury retrograde season. I believe Mercury retrograde is going to, I think it happens about 3 times during the year. And so take a look at your birth chart. You can find where Taurus is. I'm sorry, not Taurus. Yeah. Where Taurus is in your chart. And that will also give you an idea of what to rethink on or what to consider. Some people, of course, because Taurus, we all are influenced by Taurus and Venus in some way. Find that Venus placement, which is the ruler of Taurus. Take a look at what signs are in Taurus in your birth chart. Take a look at what planets are in your second house. And those will be some key areas that will be important for you as an individual to reflect on. But the message here, again, with Taurus, with Mercury retrograde, the second house, the Hierophant, the Magician, and the Ace of both Swords and Pentacles will give you a really good foundation to start your examination. And during this Mercury retrograde season, that's what the energy is: an examination, an analyzation, reviewing, redoing, revising what we've done in the past and critiquing it, reanalyzing and reforging it so that it is exponentially more beneficial as we move forward to our North Node. I hope this has been beneficial and helpful for you. I hope this has given you some information, some guidance, some advice on what it is that you need to do to make the choices that you need to make to move closer to your North Node. I'm going to come back with a part 2 where I will analyze in further detail some of the Pentacle and Swords cards here, because the 5, 6, 7 of Pentacles represents the first, second, and third decan of Taurus, whereas the Page of Pentacles is really representative of Earth itself, and the Knight of Pentacles and the Page of Swords have a representation of both Earth and air. And I think that looking at these details will help us gain some footing, right? And point us in the direction of where we really can analyze more of ourselves on a deep level during this Taurus season. Thank you so much, guys, for joining me. I love being here with you. This will be part 1 in a probably 2-part series. I am going to be coming back with a video, a message video on the Fool. So be sure to come back and check that out. But as always, it was great hanging out with you. Thank you. I feel very honored to be here sharing this message with you. And I'm wishing you peace, love, and blessings during this Mercury retrograde season. I'll be back with another one. See you guys.